To welcome in Gary Barta once again, the chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. So, Gary, just from the top, take us through the process of assigning these teams to the New Year's Six bowl games apart from the College Football Playoff semifinals.
Sure. A couple of those bowls are selected by the bowls themselves. So the Rose Bowl came in and selected Ohio State versus Utah. And so that'll be an exciting game. And then same thing, I just heard you talking about Ole Miss and Baylor. Ole Miss and Baylor are two teams that the committee has talked about how close they've been over the last few weeks in terms of our evaluation. But in that case, again, the Sugar Bowl selected those two. And then we move to, that means there were 4 slots left for the committee to place in the final 2 bowls. And the committee spent time talking about, really valued the rankings. And so we went down and we put the highest ranked and then moved all the way through, but really favored the rankings. So then we came up with Notre Dame and Oklahoma State playing in the Fiesta Bowl, and then for the Miami Bowl, or excuse me, the Peach Bowl, putting Michigan State and Pittsburgh. And that went in terms of where they fell in the rankings.
And also, too, Gary, just because Jesse had asked a question about BYU being 13 and going down one spot. Pittsburgh's the lowest ranked team in there, but they're in a New Year's Six because they are conference champion. So really the lowest ranked, as I looked at it, lowest ranked at large team would have been 10 Michigan State, unless I'm overlooking somebody. Is that correct?
You have that correct. So they would have had to pass Michigan State. And then Utah and Pittsburgh got in because of their conference championships.
When you look at the big picture of assigning the rest of the 25, once you get through the top 4, which is the one that everybody focuses on, what's the most difficult process about ranking the rest of them behind?
One of the things that we have, I don't know if it's an advantage, but we've spent this entire year watching these teams, and then last week, when we went through the rankings, we spent maybe a little bit of extra time just making sure, each committee member is assigned to a conference, and we make sure in those conference conversations that we have these teams at that point before the championship weekend, we have them in the right place, in the committee's eyes, and after talking to the conferences. That way, when we get to this final weekend, there's usually not a lot of movement between those teams, and then we just take into account the championships, those who have won, those who have lost, and that's where the movement comes. So this final ranking, there's not as much movement if for those teams that aren't in conference championship. I heard you talking about Houston. There's an example of a team that moved up, and so did several others, because San Diego State moved down 5 spots when they lost their conference championship. So it's just trying to find the right mix based on the outcomes of those championship games.
Gary, we appreciate your insight, my friend. Congratulations on a job well done. Look forward to seeing you during the postseason.
All right. Thanks, guys.